To be honest, I can't even really use real music on here because I'll be a little bit under the copyright check. So I just use some sick instrumentals. Good morning, everybody. I'm Alex Garrett, once again on Alex Garrett Podcasting. And I want to read you one thing. Mike Myers, Radio Hope, is joining me once again. But I want to read one thing that I just posted on one of my platforms. I had said this today. Tell me if you like. We are living in two different realities, the citizen journalist reality and the televised reality. We can accept both and use them to help us grow by understanding communities and the cops are coming together in peace, yet the rioting in other places is still happening as well. We can accept that police brutality has long been an issue, and it's time for each department to fully be examined for policies and complaint loads. We can accept that the Black community wants to do well in America and thrive here. They must be given a chance. We can accept that cops wake up every day wanting to serve and protect, and it's those cops we should look to. Ultimately, no one should be afraid to wake up in America. We can change this together. Michael, we have to have more of those conversations of changing it instead of just thinking in our old ways at this point.
Well, and part of that thinking involves doing away with the police department. I think maybe, I think sometimes maybe wisdom just goes out the window.
Yeah, I don't know how. I do know why they want to do it. There's a sector that completely wants to obliterate it. And yet, Michael, I had seen in Nassau County, very proud, on Long Island, cops shaking hands, giving hugs with protesters. I mean, there are pockets of peace, and we have to recognize that too, that there are cops out there doing the right thing. And the best solution I can come up with is not defunding, not getting rid of, just evaluating and see what's there. And if there's a problem, get rid of the problem.
Well, let's see. Human beings, if there's a problem, get rid of the problem. Well, I don't mean to be a, pessimist, but good luck with that one. But we must have the conversation. We got to have the conversation. It just needs to be, we need to be open. Here's a, for instance, yesterday, it was the day before yesterday, kind of got into it with the wife a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm like, and then I start going, and then I start thinking, there's something to what she's saying. And then I have to admit, my beautiful woman is right. And I'm so glad now.
And what did she say that was right? You mumbled her words.
Well, because I was going to use instead of beautiful, I was going to use a word that would not be appropriate to describe my lovely wife. She's a great lady. What was your question? I'm sorry.
No, because you were like mumbling what she said. So what was the argument about exactly?
Oh, now you want to know details.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, did you get your clothes back? What the hell's up with you asking me details about my argument with my lovely wife? No, but seriously though, I have to make a trip. I thought I was going to have to make another 6-hour drive today, and it turns out I'm not going to, and instead it'll be a trip to Des Moines and back, which I don't mind at all.
Des Moines, that always, just the name itself sounds so fun to be in. I don't know why, but Des Moines, Iowa.
Des Moines?
Yeah, Des Moines.
Anyway, that whole plan of resolve that you gave, that was a lot of stuff. I might have to go back and listen to the show again.
Well, that one comment, because I just am very, we have to address that the African Americans are afraid to wake up. I've been told this personally by African Americans that they're afraid to wake up in this kind of culture.
Now stop, because I know of white people, let's start using colors,
sure,
that are afraid to go out.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what might happen wherever they might be living, because they're afraid. So we got a fear issue going on here. And is it justifiable fear? Yeah, I would say so. But what is it about us human beings that think we need to intimidate each other and strut our stuff? And
right.
So it really comes down to me, I don't know. I'm too simplistic in this. We're all created in God's image. For that very reason, we need to respect each other.
Mike, I would also say the conversation is missing one key point. 57 cops yesterday resigned from Buffalo's police department. If you don't think
Wow.
they're afraid too, you're dead wrong. And that's
Dead?
the conversation piece we're missing right now.
Dead wrong. Huh. Yeah, it's a mess. It's really a mess. I have to agree with you. And it's how do we resolve it? It starts with talking.
Yeah.
As you folks out there would say, we're going to need to sit down and talk. We need a what? Talk. I can't even understand you. Talk. Sorry. You don't.
Oh man. All right. Maybe I'm not missing the Boston accent, calling the Yankees, whatever stupid things they call them. Well, because what you just did was like a Boston accent there. So good on you on that.
Yeah. You could have Ruth Ann on. She has a Boston accent. She's not even from Boston. I don't know where it came from. Like what?
Lock the car.
Yeah, lock the car. Oh, Rhode Island. Second ex-wife.
No, and then the other thought I was coming into today with is, as you can tell, I've had all this planned out in my brain. Didn't write it down, but that's okay. It's just we do have these two realities facing us. Reality of citizen journalists putting out videos of good interactions. What?
No, go on, because I just remembered now what you said. I wasn't really I didn't listen as you said this earlier. But yeah, go for it. Say that again. You got the journalists putting out this great stuff.
Reality of citizen journalists videoing good interactions with the police. We've also got the reality of TV telling us that looting and rioting is going on. And we must accept those two realities. The problem is we're only accepting one reality, which is we gloss over the positive interactions and we just complain and get freaked out by the rioting. There has to be a counterpunch to that.
Now, here is where I would have to disagree with what you I would disagree with what you said, because you said, and then we do this, it's this. So yesterday I decide it's okay. I mean, someone suggested there's a hat out there that says, Jesus is my savior, Trump is my president. Someone's response to that was a baby puking in a hat. And of course, my mom puked in my Trump hat. And I put that on there, and I figured this guy would absolutely think that was hilarious. And he did. But to make a long story short, I wore this to our local grocery store for the first time in a while, because I'm kind of like, I don't want to make trouble. I better just cast this aside. And I went to this pharmacy, and the gal said, oh, by the way, I love your hat. I'm not supposed to tell you that, but I love your hat. And I said, I need a moist towelette. Thank you. And I got all choked up. It was very encouraging.
There's two fronts to that. Three fronts to what you just said, by the way. The first thing is you can accept both that Jesus is Lord and Savior and that Trump is president. Those are both realities.
Now, do they both belong on a hat? I don't know. Maybe.
No, I don't know. I didn't want to get into the Bible thing in front of the church. I mean, it was that whole moment, it just rubbed me the wrong way, I guess, to be honest. The way it was done. And then,
it was a photo. Yeah, it was a photo op. It was.
But so the second thing is, though, to that point is, here again, is where we have people in this country afraid to embrace who they want to support politically because they're afraid they're going to be attacked. And so I applaud you for not being afraid of that.
Well, and that's why there's, everything works together for the good, for those that love God and are called according to his purpose. Now, you and I have had this conversation before. There are times I wish Trump would just keep his shush, his tick-a-lock. And is he a perfect man? No, of course he's not. Gee whiz. I think he's doing a great job. Do I agree with everything? No. But the vitriol, thank you, Mr. Ed Delgado, is just nasty. It's like if you were a Trump supporter, then you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, you're a hater, you're all of these. No, I'm not. Quit doing. Stop it. Give me a hug, COVID hug.
And that broad brush is going to kill us all. That broad.
Mm-hmm. broad brush, boy.
And think of it this way: we broad brush everybody, right? We broad brush the African American community. We broad brush cops. We broad brush Trump supporters, and that's not.
And Christians.
Oh yes, and Christians.
And Muslims.
Yeah, very true.
All kinds of people. You're right. We're pigeonholers.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So I do sometimes this National Publicity Summit, which is where people pitch their story ideas to me. And someone
to you or to each other.
Well, to me, to put them on my podcast and whatnot. So I have that going.
Oh, so it's to you, but it's kind of a group get together, and people are like, "There's yeah, that's cool." I like the way that you put that. Is they pitch them to you, because for you, that's why you're there,
right?
To make your podcasting even better. Okay, I'll be quiet now.
No, it's so true, because I want to expand the content. And let me tell you, those 4 hours I deal with people that are telling me real life stories is more relieving than covering the news, because I'm hearing on the ground stuff. That's kind of what I made this thing to talk about, is on the ground going on.
Yeah.
And so in that group was a Muslim, and unfortunately he had the same name as one of the terrorists of 9/11. And he was blacklisted. He was unable to get a job. He was profiled. I mean, I felt so bad when I heard that story.
Look, I deal with this. Yesterday when I was at that place where you buy your drugs, I told her my name, and I said, she said, anyway, you know what? Hey, baby, or and it's like, and I have a son born on Halloween. So I invite it. I love it. It's like, but you don't know the real me. My wife doesn't. Don't ask her. It's none of your business.
For a minute there, I got to be honest with you. For a minute there, I thought I was talking to, let's see if I got it here.
Now we're going to be up front. Now you're going to be honest.
No, Alex, hold on. I'm trying to pull up a song here because I wanted to pull it up. It's just, I haven't played this one yet, but I literally thought I was talking to Austin Powers,
Hey, baby.
Because Mike Myers was Austin Powers, so I thought I was talking to Austin Powers too.
Well, what could I say?
Can you do a British accent? I'm kind of curious.
No, don't. Now I have performance anxiety.
Let's.
Yeah.
Focus. And then the third prong to what you were talking about, though, there. I'm trying to refocus everything.
Thank you. We need it.
The third prong that you were talking about there, she was whispering to you, hey, I love what you're. That's the other part of this. No one else wants to speak up. I mean, that's another thing.
Well,
not no one else, but some people don't.
She's not supposed to. It's a no-no. And she did anyway, which I found, I thought it was neat. I really was encouraged by, it's like, hey, maybe if I step out and get out of the boat, maybe if we take the lead. I got a song I'm going to be playing here in a little bit. It's called Bottle Rocket.
Okay.
I got a bottle. You would not believe the lyrics to this song. It is like and it just popped up this morning. It's just, oh gosh. Go ahead. Tell a joke. I'm going to read one little bit of, I got it on this other computer.
And by the way, I used to, when I was at Jet Propulsion Lab in that Jason Project event, science project in 2005 in Pasadena, we would go in the yard of the Jet Propulsion Lab and do bottle rocket testing. It was pretty cool to launch those things and see the height it went and everything.
Well, and so, yeah. So,
and by the way, there must have been so much science back to the launch last week really quickly before you read.
Fascinating.
Because imagine they timed where this thing would land back on. How did they do that?
So, I got goosebumps. It's amazing, isn't it?
It was incredible. I'm just thinking that took a lot of science to put all that together. So, wow.
Yeah. And science is just amazing. But check this out. You've got clueless commentators telling folks to stay inside. You've got light investigators pulling shades and terrified. You got powers of the darkness blowing smoke to dim the skies. You got psychics look a little anxious. Anybody out there wonder why? I got a bottle rocket. I got a bottle right. I'm like that. Got a little light to testify
Testify.
in the name of Jesus. There's good news, folks. There's a lot of good news. And that's your point. Good news, bad news. Which one are we going to focus on? I don't know. You are marvelous.
Oh, thank you. I'm marvelous.
There's a danger in just being all lolly Jesus, and looking at what's really going on. And that's why this whole fear thing is, we're a world just living in, we're fearful instead of, I don't know, why are we walking around in fear? Because someone's going to hit us with a brick, or someone's going to bust into our, huh?
By the way, to the fear point and everything, the family of George Floyd has shown how Christian they are, where they're all these protests, and they're very spiritual in the way they're talking about his passing.
Really?
The murder of him, yeah. They're very spiritual. And I just wish the rioters took a clue about that, but they won't ever do that. So,
well, because it doesn't sell.
Right. Now, one other thing maybe you can agree with it. How often do you find yourself writing an immediate gut punch reaction when it comes to the mind? Put it on Facebook. Don't even tailor it. Just post it raw. And then
I backed way off. Way off. It's just not. It's not worth it. And yet there are other times. Now again, like this post that I put up, and I said, "Be wise and don't live in fear." And if I have this conversation with this individual again, I'm going to be maybe snarky and say, then live in fear. I'm just saying it's not a good idea. I'm not saying don't be careful. You know, it's like crossing the street. Am I afraid to cross the street? Well, I could get hit if I'm not careful. So I need to check both ways and then cross the street. Maybe check both ways twice. Anyway, blah, blah, blah.
I should do that too. As I told you, some people in quarantine forgot how to drive. Like they just would love to roll wherever they can. And it's like, there's still people on the sidewalk, on the streets. Hello.
Yeah.
It's not good.
But overall, are you encouraged at all
about
just stuff in general, or are you just a bit? Oh, it reminds me of a song. Pessimistic.
No, I'm not pessimistic. I'm just a bit on edge, I guess you'd say, because as I posted, and all I could do to combat my own pessimism is say, I shouldn't be afraid to speak out what I am seeing. And what I'm seeing in New York is beautiful protesters lining the Brooklyn Bridge, right? Yet the business owner down the block can't even open his damn business.
Which, well, right here in Boone, something popped up where evidently there are some windows on Big Main Street in Boone, Iowa, town of 16,000, that have plywood on them. And of course, the concern is, they're planning it because there are plans of having something going on here in Boone. I wanted to do a heterosexual pride march myself, but I didn't think it was appropriate.
I'm amazed that Boston did that, actually. They pulled that off. Was it Boston, one of the cities up there?
They did it. Really?
Well, there was a straight pride march, yeah.
But aren't we just kind of, I don't know. It sounds so corny, but
and to be honest,
even
that community is afraid to wake up. We have communities afraid to wake up in America, and we cannot have that. We have to have true unity. Now, the reason why I'm recognized is because I've had people like talk to me about it. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I'm sure. Have you had dialogue with people since this incident different than what you've had before?
Oh, sure.
I think so too.
Yeah, and I had that yesterday. I was talking about during the show. I was trying to connect with somebody, and they said, "Well, I got a couple of minutes." And they said, "Well, I need to be able to talk to you when we talk longer." Well, you better take the couple of minutes while you can because I'm busy. Well, get this. This is so cool. I called this individual at exactly after 9. We talked for much more than 2 minutes. We talked for about 20 minutes. Then I met this individual at a store yesterday, and it was great.
Wow.
And we both, it's like, yeah, I'm a person, I'm busy, I'm a very important person. And then when you meet him face to face, like, whatever, you're here to buy prunes. You got problems with your poop. You're not any more special. Oh, I'm a special person.
And that was pretty good.
Well, anyway, and I realized I was doing a little bit yesterday myself when my grandson wanted to come and see Grandpa and show off his 2003 Kia 200,000-mile van. And I'm excited for him. He's a bigger nerd than I am. Well, wait a minute, I'm judging him.
That's sweet.
And it was great. Okay, focus.
Well, and I love that. By the way, there are people out there who do power plays. Oh, I only have 10 minutes. And then it's like, well, once you start talking to them, they just cut it out. So
yeah, well, you and I still need to. I haven't done my video for this morning, so
you haven't. And I want to get to one story before I was done.
Oh, of course, because it's all about you. And go ahead, stretch it out, bud.
No, I love.
No, go ahead.
So,
no, I insist.
All right, but no, on a serious note, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, Radio Hope. What you got? What's going on today?
Don't try to pacify me. Don't. I'm talking about, what is today's show? I don't even know. Today's podcast is entitled Fear is a Liar. And I got this book. You can see it's one of my devotionals that I haven't used for a while. Well, you can't tell I haven't used it for a while because I just told you I hadn't. But you go in the back here. I remember, see all these yellow tags?
Yeah, I love that. Writing it down.
Yeah, here I am, right? So I'm realizing, are you ready, how pride-filled my mother is, right? So I go through this book and I put a yellow tag on every page about being pride-filled, not realizing how pride-filled I am myself. It's like, you idiot, you are such a dork. Look in the mirror, you.
Are you saying like mother like son then? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying human like other humans. Who of us does not have a struggle with pride and pride in a job well done? I mean,
that's why I get frustrated when I can't log in because I want to have a job well done. We all want to do this right. The podcast, the video cast, everything.
That reminds me of a song
and
a verse. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. All I can think of is the smoke detector going off, and my wife's been cooking. Supper's done.
Oh no! Oh no!
That's bad.
That's terrible.
It is, but it's true.
But hey, that's all you really speak, though, is truth, from what I can tell. So.
Lie. That's a lie. Liar, liar. Oh, I could play that song. I got it here. And guess what?
I hope you talk about the confronting of realities, though, that we're all dealing with, because I think the way we give hope is to confront both, say how we can change both, and give hope. So that's kind of why I want to choose that today.
Well, I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. So I'm cleaning this apartment yesterday, and I got my music player thingy with me, and I was looking all over for, it's the Coke song, right? I like to, and it starts playing off of my phone. I'm like, what? I had the whole thing by the New Seekers right there on my phone. I didn't even know it. I got so much stuff. I don't even know I got stuff.
I never know if you have an iPhone. Do you have an iPhone? I guess you do, or Android, or whatever.
I have an Android, iPhone, whatever.
A flip phone? No, I'm kidding.
Rush. Hey, I used to get in trouble when I worked for U.S. Cellular because some people, that's all they wanted was a flip phone. They did not want a smartphone, and I was chastised for not trying to sell them a smartphone. Look, they want a flip phone. Leave them alone.
How were you as a salesperson? I can't imagine your pitches to people. You're so charismatic. I can't imagine how
my pitching got me in trouble to the point where I eventually got fired because I wasn't real good at overcoming objections at least 3 times. So what I would do, and unfortunately someone overheard me and they tattled on me and I didn't get to face my accusers, but I would say something like, you don't want data, right? You don't want data, right? Yeah. So I would overcome their objections for them. And then I got called into the office and was told that we might have to what was the word they used?
Oh.
Something about separate from the company. I said, you mean you might just have to fire me? Is that, why don't you just tell me that you're thinking about firing me? So if we just separate, can we like go to counseling and maybe get back together? I got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. Here I am 50 some years old dealing with youngsters. When I say youngsters, that it's like you've been pre-programmed. Everything is about, you know, I understand sales and making money, but what about keeping customers and giving them what they want, not what you think they have to have? And that's why they followed me from that. I love my
Mike. Oh,
I
no.
loved my customers
Do you still talk with any of them, or?
all the time. It's amazing. Hey, I remember you. You're that cell phone guy. Yeah, that's it.
Love
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
and
sorry,
you,
we get way
you
off
were doing a
subject.
service for them because they probably were going to be asked to get a higher thing. And I don't know if the other guys in your company was like that, but maybe forced to because of the aggressiveness of the salespeople.
And then this was the part that was really difficult.
Mhm.
When somebody would flat out lie to your customer and say, "Oh no, we don't get commission."
Who
The
believes?
minute you lose that trust with your customer
Mm-hmm.
and they know that people get commission, they're not going to go back to you after you. You know, trust is something that's earned and you can blow it just like that.
But they really thought they get away with that. They thought the customer was too stupid to understand that they do get commission or something.
Yes.
Man,
It comes down to just being brutally honest, right?
yeah. Be like, hey, I'm looking to make some money because I'm 20-something-year-old and I want to do whatever I can to do it, and I'm going to sell you a ship phone if I could. So that's.
Okay.
Hey, what was the partnership with Iowa State? I noticed that. I didn't realize they were in the partnership there.
Oh yeah, U.S. Cellular, they're a big advertiser for Iowa State Cyclones.
And you know my gripes with them, that the White Sox
Yep.
sold off Comiskey for that, and I miss Comiskey. It was like a baseball tradition thing for me.
Yeah, I totally understand what you mean, and it's all about the money. You know, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing, back to the business part. Companies are giving money to support the protests, yet the small business owner can't open without a fine. I don't know why I keep correlating all this stuff, but I'm just seeing it.
It's because it's the ridiculousness of it all. It's just, and you look at it and you go, are we really even having this conversation? That's why a lot of times on Facebook, I'll see something, I'll go, are you serious? And then if I post, I get consumed with checking to see what the responses are rather than
2 minutes later, did I get a like? 3 minutes later, did I get a like?
yes, it's crazy. I got speakers to put in the back of my Passat.
How I know, I don't think I've ever asked you this. How long do you take to prep for your pod every day? Do you do stuff after the pod's done to keep prepping for tomorrow?
It reminds me of preparation H, holiness. I get up at 6, actually think about things throughout the night. Sometimes I'll grab my phone and, you know, write down some ideas. Maybe I hear something on the 24/7 stream. So that's kind of the prep thing. But to answer your question, I'm up at 6, show at 8, usually have things for this morning. I actually went outside for a little while, had my coffee and read some stuff from My Utmost for His Highest. I'm going to be talking about the Psalm 56 and people, you know, not fearing. There's a sermon that I might use here from a guy that I've heard for the second time, dealing with fear. I got all this stuff up here, and I might use 1 or 2 songs and I'll talk for like ever and not get to what I actually wanted to do. And that's how it ends up going. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, it does.
Mike, we
Did I
can't.
answer your question? I don't think I did.
But you just led me to another thing, and I know you got to do the video. It's 8:35 Eastern already. Holy crap! But
Holy crap! That's what Christians do. I'm
yes,
sorry. That is
crap.
just not appropriate. Oh my gosh.
But you just brought me to this kind of circle here. we know people are, we're told people are waking up afraid. Yet we can't be in a cop's shoe because we don't know exactly what they're dealing with.
Oh, I can't imagine being a police officer.
We can't imagine the African American walking out of their home afraid. We just can't imagine anybody else's shoes. So what's the closest we could do to tell people not to be afraid without sounding too standoffish?
But I guess with what you just said, the African American walking out of their house afraid. Do I walk out of my house afraid sometimes?
I'm sure you do. I don't know.
We got a BB hole in our front window. Is it because I have a Trump flag? But I thought about this last night. Am I cowering in fear? A number of years ago, one of my brothers just kind of went wee wacko, and he was threatening me. He was physically threatening. He was going to hit me in the head with a frying pan. He was so mad at me. Was he joking? I don't know, but he was out there enough and I was very scared that he was going to pull up to the house, and I wasn't going to know how to deal with him. And that was real fear. So, but to say that none of us ever walk out of the house a little fearful, I don't know. Why are we focusing on a specific group? How about just all of us? Wouldn't it be nice if we could just walk down the street and not be afraid?
Of course, yes, that's the ultimate goal. No one should be afraid in America. That's the ultimate goal.
Well, what if I just start saying, well, because what if I was Muslim? Are all Muslims terrorists?
No.
Well, but if I'm walking in irrational fear, is it trumped up fear? Ooh, there's an interesting term. I mean, what is it? Real fear, or is it just fear because it's unknown? I don't know what might happen today. Am I living in fear?
That's why the whole thing, locking us in for 3 months, didn't ever really make sense, if I'm being candid with you.
And I think being candid is the best way to be. And I do believe there's a lot of folks that are going, did we just get duped? Have we been duped as a country with all of this that's going on? How many of these, I think there was another 50 some deaths here in Iowa, I think yesterday from COVID, I think. So how many of those were actually COVID related, or were they just, did they get the code that it was COVID because, and it's like, who do you trust? I don't know.
I don't know. I just know I trust myself, and I trust the way I do things, and I think that's the best way it could be. Trust ourselves first, and then build the trust with others.
Well, and even there, I have to tell you, I don't. It's a great one.
Yourself?
Well, for instance,
I don't either, but I'm working on it.
Well, here's a, trust and obey. There's no other way to be happy in Jesus than to trust and obey. I'm not going to talk about it. We'll save it I'm going to tease you for another day.
Yeah, I mean, here's the point, folks, and I haven't talked about this yet. I had a rough kind of couple weeks where I decided to end my relationship, and I don't trust myself staying all calm during that time of getting through it, because I'm just not like that. So I'm trying to maintain calm inside of me while I deal with whatever I'm going through after this.
And if I could ask you just one question, maybe it's not appropriate. Did you know this person for quite a while? 20
something years.
Oh my gosh. See, and I can't. Oh, let me tell you, I'll share this little saying I have. Actually, it's biblical. Those who love deep hurt deep. Those who have been forgiven much love much. If you're like myself, there's a side of you that's really hurting.
I am hurting. But you know what? That's why I come on this podcast and talk, because it helps me ease that.
Exactly. Yep. And it's very therapeutic. It really is.
But there's like a whole added component when you have nothing to do because everything's locked in. That's the whole part of this I'm trying to overcome right now. John Fisher, I've got to read that.
Well, you don't have to, but.
No, but I like the title, and I kind of liked what their
Fearless Faith. I was going through Real Christians. It says don't dance, and then it's crossed out. Do you know why Never mind. I won't tell you the Baptist joke about dancing and making love. Someone might think they're dancing. Stand up.
So what advice do you have for me today because this is the first time I've talked about it, by the way.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a heavy to just, whew, man. Whew. Oh, I got one. God draws near to the brokenhearted. I remember my son had just broken up with this gal and he was in the backseat. He was like 15 or 16. And he's reading his Bible. He used to just read his Bible. He'd take his Bible to school and people would make fun of him. But he just ate it up. He's sitting in the back seat and he said, Dad, listen to this. God draws near to people that have broken hearts, and I have a broken heart. That means he's drawing near to me. Isn't that? Oh, that just gets
cried
me.
When he said that. I mean, my goodness.
Well, and then I'm thinking of things that I said to him at other times that he has turned around and said to his son, chastising me for saying what I said. And then I got to, never mind. God is really good. It really, love does cover a multitude of sin, and realizing how hypocritical we all tend to be. But anything about having the truth right there in front of you, so you go, geez, I'm a hypocrite. I mean, I'm doing the same crap that I'm accusing them of. And
right. And I can't be strong because I feel this obligation to say, you know what? I have my faults in the relationship too. I never really wanted to talk about that part, but it's important to acknowledge my role in this whole thing to begin with.
And that, yes, exactly. I have my issues between the two people. I mean, I got I tell you, it's the truth, Alex. I think what we're all seeking is the truth, and the truth will,
And it will. The truth will
set us free from this fear. You go, man. I'm telling you, I keep coming back to the truth, not to religion, because religion will kill you. Religion is man's way of reaching God, and he sent his son to be like us and yet fully God to reach us. And if we can just take a look at the truth and just go, God is really good. He's a good God, but he's also just. And there are people that there's going to be a price to pay for the secret crap that's going on in the dark. And this thing, again, with what happened in Minneapolis, inexcusable. In spite of the fact that I did see a video where this guy, unless it was doctored, George, he dropped a little packet. He might have been being arrested for selling narcotics, possibly.
But I think the bigger picture is, and I heard these two work with each other at one point. I don't know how true that is or not, but
it was still excessive.
It was still excessive. It was done 237 times.
Understatement. Excessive.
237 times within the department. And here's the best part of this story. You can charge the cops and say that's the justice you want, but I'm looking at the way they're doing this. They have just banned chokeholds and neck restraints in Minneapolis per a judge's, decision. But the fact that the police union, was able to come together and just say, hey, we have to get this agreement, we have to ban this stuff. We agree with you. We have to do this, is huge. Sometimes cops won't have the unions back, and a lot of them do, but maybe they don't.
Yeah, just because it's legal doesn't make it morally right.
237 times, Mike? That's crazy to me. That is just absurd. On the same hand, you don't want to see 57 resign like we did in Buffalo. So again, another balance that you and I can talk about and try and strike and get people more informed about. I think that could be our mission on this podcast, is just say, hey, folks, there's got to be a middle ground here, not 57 resign while we get rid of bad policing tactics. There's got to be a common ground.
Yeah. And what is right? Are there times where do you think there are times where that type of, I listened to a guy, and here I'm hitting the ball back. I listened to a guy, he's called the Ninja Pastor.
Okay.
And I listened to a show of his yesterday. In fact, I've listened to 2 in a row. And he tells the story of how he became fascinating gentleman. And I'm going to take the time to, if I don't get my video up today, who really cares? This is more important. His guy, where's it at? Oh, wait for it. There we go. How racism killed me and how God saved me. Again, the Ninja Pastor radio show by the Reverend Dr. Sean Michael Greener. Amazing story of what happened to him and how justice prevailed, although it didn't look like it was going to. And it is definitely, oh, and then he talks about you need your best armor for this fight. I mean, he's talking about everything. What to do if you are caught up in a riot. I mean, the guy is a fascinating gentleman to listen to. And he used to be he was a special ops guy. And then he had a business that where he helped protect people that were high risk at being possibly attacked.
Wow. And how do you help them?
I don't know. You have to listen to his stuff.
I'm definitely gonna check that Ninja Pastor Radio. I've got to check
Ninja Pastor. And I think if you listen to the last one, and he tells the story about how he ended up now in a wheelchair because of somebody else's very, very, very poor behavior. 104 miles an hour and hit him while he was in his vehicle.
That's not an accident. I don't know.
Of course, no, it's not. But the guy, and what had happened is just previous to this accident, these kids had said that they were DWB. They were stopped by a racist cop driving while black. No, they were breaking the law. That's why they were stopped. And if we're always going to throw in the race card and we're not going to look at what's really going on, and in this case, the truth won out. And the truth is that guy in Minneapolis, there's no way that he should be dead.
No, none at all.
I mean, none at all. And we all agree with that. So what the heck is all the other stuff that's going on? We agree. The guy, maybe he should murder charges. I mean, you just.
Well, it's pretty telling when a lot of Democratic attorney generals are praising the looting and the rioting. It's pretty telling what's going on with that.
Well, and again, are we as a nation just totally being duped? Have I not been able to give my mom a hug for almost, 3 months now? Is there really, I mean, what is real? Can you trust, there's the question, can you trust the media?
Okay. I hate to say it, and I've said it before, with COVID at least, we didn't get a second opinion. We listened to one doctor's opinion. Aren't we supposed to get like a second or third opinion on this stuff?
Well, but then if you get other opinions, people say, well, they don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. I was trying to be funny with it because I'm just, I need a laugh in my brain. And I just think it's funny how we only stuck with one opinion. Yet the old joke is, well, did you get the second opinion? You know, that's kind of been like that.
Yeah. And have we stopped? I think it's kind of like this too. It's kind of like we've become, dumb sheep and we're just following the crowd, but maybe the crowd, well, the way is narrow to heaven through Christ, but the Broadway, there's a lot of people going on Broadway, but it's not the right direction to be going. And just to just be careful, just be wise. And don't live in fear. I still love that. Be wise and don't lick toilet seats.
Michael, can you just quote one thing for me since we got you now for another couple minutes, which is great. And I'm glad that you chose Alex Guerra Podcasting over doing a video.
I'm such a nice guy. That's part of the problem.
No, one last thing though. Can you quell something for me?
Can I what?
Can you just quell something?
Quell?
Yeah. Because there's something in my brain that's very active right now as we're talking.
Quell?
Let's face it, the minute Trump threatened to deploy the military, a lot of that nonsense stopped. And now here's what I'm concerned about. This week's going to be a new thing that they're going to try and come up with.
Listen to it's interesting you said that because I have it written right here in the corner.
What?
Okay. When he said, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Think about it. The shooting started, was he referring to the cops are going to start shooting people because they're looting? Or is that just a statement that he made? When the looting starts, the shooting starts because the cops come try to break things up. and people are getting killed. What's that guy's name? What's his name? That one.
David Dorn, the cop in St. Louis.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
up with that? I mean, come on, folks. Let's look at all the information and quit. We got this tunnel vision justifying what our behavior when it can't be justified. And again, we've got to understand God is a God of justice, and justice will prevail. So I think we all need to be a little careful with how we're living.
Yeah, but how do you mean exactly how we're living?
Well, I think to just go off, I'm not trying to talk dirty, but half-cocked is just what, and it sounds so gushy and sloppy agape, but it does. God is a God of love.
Mm-hmm.
So if God is a God of love, why do we even get into arguments over what color of skin Christ had? He came in the form of man. I went to this one church down in Des Moines, an African-American church. They got a picture of supposed to be Jesus up there, and it's a black Jesus. Why even make, oh, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to podcast today. You got me so ticked off now. I'm not.
That's the best time to podcast, actually.
No, it's not. Not for me.
Oh.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, I swear to God, I think you went to acting school and didn't tell me because you're very good.
Doesn't work well all the time with the wife.
Oh.
She doesn't know when I'm kidding, and sometimes I don't know when she's
I
kidding.
don't know when you're kidding, but I take your word for it. So.
Don't take my word for it. Take his word for it. Parallel Bible.
All right. On that note, Mike, I got to let you go. I know it's 9 minutes to pod, so get ready. And we'll hear up here at 9 a.m. Eastern.
No, it's actually coming up on 8 minutes to pod. 8 minutes to pod. I love that. T-minus 8 minutes to pod and counting. You're a funny man. Have a good day.
You too, man. Have a great pod.
Hey, you're a holy roller.
I try to be. Thank you. And I get what you're doing there. I rollerbladed the other day, and it was nice. It was nice. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye. Be well. All right. I'm Alex Garrett.